First off, before we get to the politics, talk about the emotion here. A hostage deal. Donald Trump is saying the hostages will be released soon. What this means for the families, the people that you know in Israel.
I think every single person in Israel and all of Israel's friends around the world are holding their breaths right now. We are waiting to see the first hostage emerge from that hell of Gaza and come back home, be reunited with their families. In Israel, a tiny country the size of New Jersey with only 10 million citizens, from the baby Bibas brothers, those beautiful redhead boys, 1-year and 3-year-olds, to 85-year-old grandfathers, we feel like every one of those hostages are our family, and we are waiting to receive them.
Now to the politics. Obviously, this is a deal. It was made. It was made before Donald Trump took office, but it was also his wish, and his message to Iran couldn't get much more clear. All hell will break loose. Yael, what do you think of Donald Trump's role in what we are seeing here as the outcome that many have prayed for in Israel?
Well, I think it's very clear that this is a war which represents what's happening globally. There are those who value life, who sanctify life, and that's what my organization, the International Fellowship of Christians and Jews, represents. Those people who recognize terror, who recognize evil, and don't make a moral comparison to Israel, the only democracy in the Middle East, which cherishes freedom and provides freedom to all of its citizens. We sanctify life, and so when we're fighting this war against the terrorists that on 7 different fronts that Israel's been attacked from, all of them sponsored by Iran. It's incredible to see that there are leaders in America who recognize good from evil and will not let the evil not only affect Israel, but that will eventually come, God forbid, to America and Europe as well.
You know, there's always a trade-off, right? So the hostages will come home, but as Shelby was reporting, and as part of the deal is being announced here that was brokered, there will be Palestinian prisoners also exchanged here, and some have been opposed to that. But this is the way it's going to be. Do you have any reaction to those who are commenting on that, and you know, just the tough, cold reality of getting these hostages out? Some deal and some concessions had to be made.
It goes back to that point of sanctifying life, that we sanctify life so much that we will trade terrorists in order to get our children back, in order to get our people back. Every single life is sacred, and it is a hard deal. It is hard to see terrorists who have murdered people being traded for a 3-year-old child that was taken from his bed over a year and a half ago and been abused and held hostage. There's no moral comparison, but it represents what Israel and America stand for together, a sanctity of life, that every life is precious, and we will do anything to bring them back.
That is a wonderful point, and we've seen that even with the IDF soldiers who are in there rescuing people in tunnels, and they are people of all different walks of faith and life. Yael, what do you think the future should look like in Gaza? Obviously, that is the question. Once the war is over, the ruling of it, it's been such a point of contention, you know, for in our history. But now it does seem like there's a chance to rewrite a little bit of this. Donald Trump, as the incoming president, very close, as we know, with Netanyahu, and a huge ally of Israel. What would you like to see as someone who obviously understands the complexities, but also the realities on the ground?
Well, what Israel wants to see is the Palestinian people being ruled by a government which gives them freedom, which gives them hope, which gives them a good education. Israel wants to see the Palestinian people thrive, which is why Israel pulled out of Gaza in 2005. Unfortunately, the terror group of Hamas moved in, that took away all freedom and instead turned it into a terror enclave. And so what Israel wants to see, and what's good for Israel, America, the entire Middle East, and the world, will be for the Palestinian people finally to have a ruling government that provides them with opportunity.
Former Defense Minister in Israel, Benny Gantz, saying there is no perfect deal. But if folks are just joining us, we want to update them again. Israel and Hamas have agreed to a ceasefire. Donald Trump reacting at 12 o'clock here, just about 24 minutes ago, saying that the hostages in the Middle East, they will be released shortly. He posted that on Truth Social. His envoy, Steve Witkoff, was over there. He was at Mar-a-Lago last week, Yael, during a news conference, and then headed back to the region. He's not a typical traditional diplomat. Maybe that's a good thing.
I think what we need here is common sense. When you're dealing with terrorists and when you're dealing with people who don't care about their own lives, let alone the lives of their people, you're dealing with the terror organization of Hamas, you're dealing with Iran. I think you have to be able to do anything in order to free the hostages while still ensuring that there's safety on Israel's borders. And this is important to remember, because even after we get the hostages back, we're going to have to make sure that both the people in Gaza are freed, meaning they have a government who gives them freedom, who gives them good opportunity and education, but also that there are no terrorists on Israel's border, and an October 7th can't happen again. And that takes very skilled negotiators that seem to have succeeded in fulfilling this dream of every Israeli, and I think people who sanctify life all over the world.
Yael Eckstein, you do tremendous work at the Fellowship for Christians and Jews. I thank you for joining us as this breaking news continues to develop minute by minute. Thank you.